started, but what happened, I don't know. So this is the loop actually. In this while loop, once again I repeat, somehow it's not recorded. So while loop is what? This is a programming construct that can execute statements of its block repeatedly as long as given condition is true. So we write like this: while followed by condition, then we write here statement or statements. This can have even else part also. That means whenever the loop is coming to end, the while loop, we come to else part. Okay, whenever it is normally getting executed, we come to the else part. But whenever we have any break statement in the while loop, it never comes to else part. Remember this. So while loop is going to be working like as long as the given condition is true, the statements of the while loop will get executed. Okay, but whenever the condition becomes false, whenever the condition is becoming false, what happens? It will not execute, it comes to else part. That too, whenever the loop is getting executed normally. Naturally, when it is coming to end of the loop, in such case we come to else part. But whenever we come out forcefully from that, the loop will not be else part will not be executed. So for that we can see the program here. So in this while loop we can see it. X is 10, numbers printed is 0, then y is 0 we have taken, and this loop will be getting executed while y is 0. As long as y is 0, the loop is going to be getting executed. And as we know here, the y is always 0 because within the code nowhere we change the state of the y. Y is always 0. So therefore this condition becomes true always. Always that is going to be true. While loop is going to be true. This is going to return true always. Reason, we never change the value of the y. Y value is not getting changed. Therefore, this is going to be true always. Okay, but here what we have used it, we used here x and other thing numbers printed 0. Then we write here x equal to x plus 1. Here with this loop what we do, we are going to print only the even numbers less than 100. We are printing all the even numbers less than 100. So initially we have written x equal to x plus 1. Okay, because here x is 0. From 1 to 100 we need to check the even numbers. We have written x equal to x plus 1, and immediately we have a condition here. Whenever x is crossing 100, whenever x becomes 101, it has to break. So upon breaking that, what happens? The control comes to this part. It never comes to the else part, because we have given here while y equal to 0, the condition is. So this condition can never come to end. Reason, y is going to be always 0. It is an infinite loop. The loop is going to be continuing repeatedly forever, because we are not changing anywhere the y value. Nowhere we change the value of the y inside this code. So therefore this gets repeatedly executed. But in order to come out from the loop, what we use a if condition. If x greater than 100, we break. So upon breaking that, what happens? We never come to this part. We are not going to come into this particular part here. We never come to else part, because when the loop is getting ended naturally, we come to else. Otherwise we don't come to else. But upon breaking, what happens? We come to the line number 16 here. This is a statement at the end of while loop. So this will be getting printed always. But this part will not be executed upon because the y equal to 0. This is the infinite loop. Okay, now let us execute and see what happens in this. So it is printing up to 100, but how many numbers are printed, it's not saying, because the condition is something like that. But if I write here, instead of y equal to 0, if I put here x less than or x less than 100, if I put, what happens? See in that x less than or equal to 100 I take. So in such cases, what happens? We can see. We take there x less than or equal to 100. Now come to this, and once again we execute it. Even in that case also it is same. Reason, x is becoming sometimes 101. Okay, that is going to be greater than 100, therefore it is going to break. Suppose you don't want to execute break statement, in such cases always x value must be less than 100. So here we use less than 100, then what happens? It will never be greater than 100, therefore it will not abruptly end, it comes to natural end. Now we execute this. It says now loop ended, numbers printed is 50, because we are coming into else part. The reason is when x is 99, what we do, x equal to x plus 1. That means x becomes 100. This condition will not be getting satisfied. Even this condition will not be getting satisfied, because when you divide x with 2, remainder is 0, it's not 1. Therefore, it prints x and it's going to print numbers printed plus equal to 1. Then after that what happens? Again you come to the beginning of the loop here, it checks x less than 100, but it's not correct because x is 100 and you're checking against 100. So 100 cannot be less than 100, therefore we come to else part and it's going to print it. Okay, so the break, whenever it encounters break statement, it never comes to else part if you write any else part for the while loop. Okay, but whenever whenever it encounters break, automatically come into this. But when the loop is getting ended naturally, in such cases, the else part will be getting executed. So else statement we can use with the while also. Like if condition, we can use with the while also the else statement. In the if we use else, but here we can use with the while the else whenever you come to the normal end of the while loop. If you end abruptly with the break statement, the else part will not be executed, but whenever the loop is getting ended normally, that means you complete the loop, then when you come to the else part, you will be coming to else part. If the loop is not ending normally and forcefully, if you come out from that, it is not going to come to else part, but straight away it comes out totally from the while loop block. That means it comes to line number 16. But whenever you don't use break, if the loop is coming to end, it comes to else part as well as it comes to line number 16. So like this, we can use the break as well as continue also. Here, how we use continue? Upon meeting this condition, if x% 2 is 1, that means what? If it's odd number, we continue. So whenever it's continuing, where it goes, again it goes to this part. X value is how much here? So initially, say this is 2. Now it comes to, when x is 1, when here x% 2, x is 1, and with what we are dividing with 2, this is what exactly, remainder you get 1. In such cases, it comes to this part, it checks here. So x is how much here? 1 less than 100, that's correct. Therefore it does increment it, x equal to x plus 1. That means it becomes 2 there. So when it is 2, this condition is not met. Here also it's not meeting, because when you divide 2 with 2, remainder is 0. Therefore it's going to print it. Then similarly it increments numbers printed. So like this it's going to be using. So break as well as continue we can use that way. Similarly, if you go with the maths.tab.py file, here what we do, we enter the start number, then we go with the end number. Okay, we enter two numbers, a starting number and an ending number, and what we write here, st equal to start. So why we are storing the same start value in another variable? Reason, the start we are going to increment in this. After a certain point of time, what happens? Start and end will become same. Start and end are going to be same because we are incrementing here the start value. Initially you enter 5, okay, and end is 10. Initially start is 5, that is okay. In the loop it the loop is getting executed, but here in the loop what we do, we increase the start value because you have to come to the end of the loop. Therefore what we do, we increase the start by 1. So initially 5, then 6, then 7, then 8, then 9 and 10. So whenever this is 11, at the time we come to end. While start less than or equal to end, but whenever start is becoming 11, we come out from that. So therefore here we will not get actually the expected result here. So that's why I'm putting in the other variable. St is another variable. That st we are going to be using at the end of this. End minus st. If you enter 5 and end value, if it is 10, 10 minus 5 is 5 plus 1, 6 multiplied with 10. It can print actually here total 60 iterations. And here what we use one while loop in another while loop. This is called as here nested while looping. One while loop we are writing in another loop. This we call as here nested while loop. So loops are here getting nested. as long for every iteration of outer while loop, so inside this is executing 10 times. So if outer while loop is repeating 6 times, inner loop, if it is executing 10 times, total it's going to be 60 times, depending on the number of iterations in the outer loop. So total will be coming here. But internal while loop is constant always. It's going to repeat 10 times. But outer one is what? It is not actually constant. It may change. If you enter start equal to 1, end equal to 10, that's going to be 10 iterations. But if you enter start equal to 7, end equal to 10, that's going to be 40 iterations. So if start equal to 9 and end equal to 10, that's going to be 2 iterations. So like that, it's going to be depending on the start and end. Okay, so this is called as here nested while looping.